Welcome to the deep dive. We've got some really compelling sources today, taking us deep into the shadowy world of Cold War espionage.
Absolutely. It's a world where secrets are lethal commodities, and the truth, as we're about to explore, is often the first casualty.
Our mission today is to sort of unpack this intricate narrative, pull out the Cumming insights from these documents and accounts. We're talking double agents, faked deaths.
And the really extraordinary lengths intelligence services go to protect their secrets. It's quite something.
And it kicks off with something almost unbelievable, doesn't it? A medical deception back in 1992. Our sources detail this 76-year-old man, Edward Crane.
Declared dead, notes filed, body supposedly whisked away.
But the strong suggestion is, well, he wasn't dead at all.
Not in the conventional sense, no. This incident at St. Mary's Hospital, Paddington, in February '92, it's the linchpin for this whole decades-long mystery.
So tell us about Crane. 76 years old, what exactly happened, according to the sources?
Well, his death was meticulously faked. The level of detail suggests a very professional operation.
And there was a nurse involved, Calvin Summers.
Yes, Calvin Summers. He was paid apparently £20,000 for his silence, which, back in 1992 for a nurse. That's a significant amount.
A life-changing amount, almost. And the instruction he got.
Chillingly simple. From this point onwards, Edward Crane is effectively dead. That's it.
Wow. And Summers' account, it highlights the sort of cold efficiency of it all.
It does. He described it as handled clinically. Not something that happened every day, obviously, but managed without fuss. The room cleared, records updated.
Just another elderly patient passing away overnight, as far as the hospital records were concerned.
Exactly. It shows how easily these official narratives can be, constructed.
So let's bring in our accidental investigator, Sam Gaddis. He's not a spy, he's an academic.
Right. 43 years old, senior lecturer in Russian history at UCL. Knows his Pushkin, Stalin, Gorbachev.
But his personal life is a bit messy. Divorced, money problems.
Yeah, financially strapped is putting it mildly. He's got a daughter, Min, in Barcelona, school fees piling up, tax bill looming. Real pressure.
And his literary agent basically tells him to forget serious history for a bit.
Yes. Tells him to write something strictly commercial under a pseudonym. The agent apparently said, quite bluntly, nobody really cares about journalists getting bumped off in Russia. Ouch.
Tough advice. But it sets the scene, doesn't it? Gaddis needs money, fast.
Precisely. Which makes him receptive, maybe vulnerable, when an old friend enters the picture. Charlotte Berg.
His old Cambridge flatmate. A former war correspondent.
And she tells him she's sitting on, quote, the biggest political scandal of the decade.
Quite a claim. Does she give him any hints?
She does. She teases him a bit, mentions famous spies like Melita Norwood, the granny spy, and Roger Hollis, the MI5 chief accused of being KGB. Standard stuff.
But then she drops the real bombshell.
The real bombshell. She claims there's a sixth Cambridge spy, a contemporary of Burgess, McLean, Philby, all those guys.
The famous Ring of Five. So a sixth man operating at that level.
That's the claim.
Okay.
And unbelievably, she says this person, Thomas Name, age 91, is still alive today.
Still alive after all these years. How did Charlotte even stumble onto this?
Well, this is where it gets a bit weird. She was offered some old junk, apparently research papers belonging to a woman named Katya Levet.
Katya Levet rings a bell. Oh, Holly Levet's mother. The one often described as,
The world's worst hack, according to the source material, yes. An unlikely place to find a major intelligence secret.
Definitely. But before Gaddis can really dig into it with her,
Tragedy strikes. Charlotte dies suddenly of a heart attack.
leaving Gaddis devastated, presumably, and holding this potentially explosive, half-formed story.
Exactly. And her husband, Paul, he actually encourages Gaddis, tells him, I don't want her efforts to go to waste.
Which really puts Gaddis in a difficult position, and it makes you think, doesn't it? What makes someone pursue a story like that, knowing the potential danger, especially with his own problems piling up?
It's a mix, isn't it? Loyalty to his friend, perhaps,
Uh-huh.
but also that desperate need for money, for a big break. Necessity.
So Gaddis tries to find Charlotte's research, but hits a wall initially.
Right, until he finds a secret Hotmail account she used. Bergot965 at hotmail.com, the source notes.
And that email account holds the key.
It holds a list of names. Names connected to that St. Mary's cover-up back in '92. Benedict Meisner, Lucy Foreman, and Calvin Summers.
The nurse, so that's his first real lead into this whole thing.
The first concrete breadcrumb. And it leads him down a very deep, Very dangerous rabbit hole.
He tracks down Summers, the nurse who took the 20,000 pounds.
Finds him living comfortably, maybe a bit complacent after all these years.
And Summers wants more money to talk.
He does. Demands 3,000 pounds.
And Gaddis pays, even though he's broke.
He scrapes it together. The source says he even uses some christening money he'd saved for his daughter, Min. It shows the level of desperation.
He's really getting drawn in now, isn't he? A long way from lecturing on Pushkin.
Absolutely, he's crossed a line. And using Summers' initial details, he hits the archives. Microfilms of the Times, old Foreign Office lists.
And he finds him, Edward Crane.
He finds Edward Anthony Crane. Born 1916, educated at Marlborough, then Trinity Hall, Cambridge, standard establishment background.
But the key detail is his Foreign Office record.
Exactly. His appointment was, quote, terminated 1st June 1952, with effect from 1st June 1951.
June 1951. That's precisely when Burgess and McLean did their runner to Moscow.
Bang on. The timing is just too coincidental. That abrupt termination, right during a massive intelligence crisis, it screams high-level involvement. Something went very wrong or very right, depending on your perspective.
So, Gaddis now has Crane's background, the fake death connection. What about Thomas Name, the 91-year-old Charlotte mentioned, the supposed sixth man?
Gaddis manages to contact him. And the meeting setup is pure Cold War theater.
How so?
Instructions delivered by some young guy, shaven head, wearing a Chelsea football shirt, Lampard on the back, apparently.
Okay. Specific detail.
Then this elaborate walk through Winchester, doubling back, checking for tails, the whole 9 yards, before finally ending up at Winchester Cathedral.
It sounds almost performative, like something out of a Le Carré novel. Why all the cloak and dagger for a meeting with a 91-year-old?
Old habits die hard, I suppose. If you've lived that life, caution becomes second nature. Plus, it sets the tone. This is serious.
And Neem talks. Does he confirm he's the sixth man?
He talks. He confirms he knew Edward Crane. Eddie called him very well. Confirms their Cambridge connection, mentions Guy Burgess casually. He even names Arnold Deutsch, ODTO, the legendary Soviet recruiter who signed up the original Cambridge Five.
Okay, so far so consistent with Charlotte's idea. But then...
Then comes the twist, a massive one. Neem reveals Edward Crane wasn't a Soviet spy.
He wasn't.
No. According to Neem, Crane was actually a double agent. Codename ATTILA, working for MI5 and MI6.
ATTILA. So he was feeding this information to Moscow.
Exactly. And Namey says he was instrumental in rounding up members of the so-called Oxford Ring, people like the Floud brothers. Yeah. Jennifer Hart, not the Cambridge Five.
Wow. Okay, my head's spinning a bit. So Charlotte was wrong about him being a Soviet mole, but right about his importance and right that he was still alive. Sort of.
Precisely. The fake death in '92 makes sense now, too. Name says MI6 staged it because the KGB had finally tumbled to ATTILA and were hunting down everyone associated with him.
Right, Crane was blown, so they needed to make him disappear. But that raises the big question, doesn't it? If ATTILA was such a huge success for British intelligence, a major double agent penetrating the Soviets, why keep it secret for so long? Why fake his death instead of, I don't know, celebrating him quietly?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why bury such a significant win?
What's the thinking there, from an intelligence perspective?
Well, it seems to come down to institutional embarrassment, really. The source suggests Crane had actually been recruited by the Soviets during the war. He'd been one of theirs first.
Ah. So revealing him later as our man, ATTILA, would also mean admitting he'd initially been their man.
Exactly. And after the whole Anthony Blunt fiasco, another Cambridge spy revealed very embarrassingly, years later, MI6, or SIS, just didn't want another scandal. They preferred to bury the whole thing, success included.
Keep it secrets, even the good ones, if they risk exposing past failures.
That seems to be the logic. Protect the institution, control the narrative, even at the cost of hiding a major intelligence coup.
Okay, the plot thickens considerably. Name then brings in another name, a very significant one today. Sergei Platov.
Yes, the current Russian president, according to the source material's timeline.
How on earth does he connect to Edward Crane, alias ATTILA?
Name claims Klakov tried to defect back in 1988 when he was stationed in Dresden, and the information he offered the British. Details about ATTILA.
So Platov was offering to betray a British double agent, without realizing he was a double agent.
That's the irony, yes.
Yeah.
He thought he was offering up a genuine Soviet asset inside British intelligence.
Who interviewed Platov back then?
An MI6 officer named Robert Wilkinson. Apparently, he was Katya Levette's former boyfriend. Small world. Wilkinson recognized Platov as a judo expert, and crucially, Platov's debriefing, his story, was recorded on tape.
A tape. That sounds like it could become very important.
Extremely important. And adding another layer, Platov's handler at the time, a man named Fyodor Tretiak, was murdered in St. Petersburg in 1992.
1992, the same year Crane's death was faked.
The connections keep tightening.
And from this point, the danger level escalates dramatically for anyone touching this story. People start dying.
They do. Calvin Summers, the nurse Gaddis paid, is murdered. Killed in the woods near Mount Vernon Hospital by an FSB officer named Alexander Grake.
The FSB, Russia's security service. So Moscow is actively cleaning house, even decades later.
It appears so. Then Gaddis goes to Berlin to find Benedict Meisner, the other nurse involved in Crane's fake death.
And he walks into.
He finds Meisner shot. There's another Russian operative there, Nikolai Doronin. There's a confrontation. And Gaddis, in what sounds like pure self-defense, kills Doronin.
Good Lord. The history lecturer is now involved in killings in Berlin. This is spiraling.
Completely out of control. And then Robert Wilkinson, the MI6 man who interviewed Platov and held that crucial tape.
What happens to him?
Murdered. Shot by another Russian operative, Karl Stylik, in a Vienna cafe, just moments after he'd confirmed the Platov defection story to Gaddis.
So anyone who knows about Platov's attempted defection or about Attila is being systematically eliminated.
That's certainly how it looks, a ruthless campaign to bury the past.
And Gaddis must realize he's next. He's probably under surveillance.
Constant surveillance. And this is where Tanya Akacella comes in, MI6 officer.
Initially pretending to be someone else.
Yes, Josephine Warner from the National Archives.
Yeah.
Very neat cover. But she's been tracking Gaddis's every move, knows his debts, 33,459 thigh, the source says, his taste in Lebanese food, his Hobie Hancock albums, even the postcards to his daughter.
That's unnerving, the level of detail they have on him.
It's total operational awareness. And Tanya isn't just watching, she steps in. She organizes Gaddis's extraction from Berlin, then Vienna, uses a lover's cover story to get him through airport security.
Practical tradecraft, but again, deeply intrusive.
Absolutely. Gaddis finds himself effectively under house arrest in Tanya's flat. MI6 has him, and they're deciding what to do about this mess he's uncovered.
But the threats don't just come from the Russians. He gets a note.
A typed note arrives at his house, threatening his daughter Min and Natasha, presumably another person close to him. It includes photos.
Chilling. And it offers money for silence.
100,000 pounds. But Gaddis suspects it's not from the FSB. He thinks it's from Sir John Brennan.
The chief of SIS, the man who organized Crane's fake death in the first place. Why would Brennan threaten him?
To guarantee silence.
Yeah.
Brennan has the most to lose if the Attila story, and especially the Platov connection, gets out. It suggests internal British intelligence motives are just as complex, maybe just as ruthless as the Russians, protecting the secret at all costs.
This is an absolute minefield. So the key must be that Platov tape, the recording of his attempted defection.
That's the leverage. Gaddis finds it. Hidden amongst Katya Levette's old files, the world's worst hack delivers the goods in the end. Holly Levette helps him copy it onto multiple DVDs.
Smart move, not just one copy. And the tape confirms Platov offered to betray a KGB network.
Yes, the OSCH network in East Germany. Concrete proof of his willingness to cooperate with the West back in '88.
Armed with this, Gaddis decides to confront the Russians directly.
He confronts Alexander Greek, the FSB officer who killed Summers, down on the London embankment, a high-stakes meeting.
And he doesn't just ask for his own safety, he makes demands.
Big demands. 500,000 pounds. He specifies 100,000 pounds each for the families of the victims, Meisner, Wilkinson, Summers, plus 100,000 pounds for Charlotte's husband, Paul Berg, and 100,000 pounds for himself.
Wow. That's audacious. Is it just about the money?
No, he also demands safety guarantees for his daughter Min, for Holly, for Tanya, for Natasha. He's trying to protect everyone caught in the crossfire.
How does Greek react? Does he call his bluff?
Greek tries. He assumes Gaddis only have one copy, maybe stashed somewhere like a post box.
But Gaddis has his ace in the hole.
The multiple copies.
Yeah.
He reveals he made several, and in a stroke of genius or desperate improvisation, he says he gave one to a cleaning lady to post internationally, to Princeton University, of all places.
Brilliant. That completely changes the dynamic. Rick can't just eliminate Gaddis and retrieve the single tape.
Exactly. The information is already out, or could be. Gaddis has created leverage out of thin air. It's quite the transformation for the history lecturer.
So the bargain is presumably struck, but what about the man at the center of it all? Edward Crane, alias Tulla, alias Thomas Nahum. Did he really die shortly after meeting Gaddis, as reported?
The final twist, no. The death notice in the Times was another layer of deception.
Orchestrated by Sir John Brennan again.
It seems so. Name, or Crane, was moved, spirited away to a retirement village in Stoke-on-Trent. given another new identity, Douglas Garside.
And kept completely isolated.
Denied internet access, no mobile phone. Total information control. He's alive, but silenced. A ghost in the system.
It really underscores the power these services have, doesn't it? To just erase someone or rewrite their existence.
Absolutely. The source material ends with a letter, purportedly from Douglas Garside, Edward Crane, written to his family, finally revealing he's alive and ready, perhaps, to tell his own story.
What an absolutely incredible deep dive that was, from a fake death in a London hospital
To a potential presidential secret, a trail of murders across Europe, and an ordinary academic caught in the middle.
It really shows how these Cold War secrets, decades old, can suddenly erupt and have deadly consequences in the present.
It truly does. It's a stark look at the brutal calculus involved in protecting state secrets, the dance between governments, and the immense personal cost for those caught up in it.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other stories like this are still buried in archives or just exist as whispers? These hidden histories shaping events in ways we never see.
Countless, probably. The shadows remain long after the main conflict ends.
So the final thought for you, our listeners. Perhaps it's that the end of the Cold War wasn't really an end. The games of information, influence, survival, they just shifted, continued in the shadows.
And in that shadowy world, heroes and villains become incredibly difficult to distinguish. Sometimes the most dangerous thing isn't the enemy, but the truth itself.